Welcome, you have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be from season 1, episodes 1 through 5. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So this is on MGM Plus streaming platform. I came across seeing some trailers boosting the season 2. I think that just dropped. So I said, it looks interesting enough. And let me see what it's about. Now, I did see a trailer like way back, and it already reminded me of Wayward Pines. It was a show that came on Fox a few years ago where people would end up in this, will get into an accident or something and end up in this weird town and couldn't leave. And Terrence Howard plays the sheriff, and the people did a lot of make-believe stuff, and then it was these other people that were like creatures, monsters, whatever you want to call them, and they come out at night, and then if you get caught out there, you get killed. And it became this big mess. It lasted about 2 seasons. Season 2 got real crazy or whatever. So I did watch both seasons, but season 2 got real crazy. So when I seen the trailer it reminds me exactly of Wayward Pines that was on Fox. Now, when I actually turned into storyline is very similar, and I'm wondering how different is this going to turn out from Wayward Pines or whatever. So let's just go over the cast and get familiar so far with the first 5 episodes. So you got Scott McCord plays as Victor, who's, you find out he's resident of the town, like he was like the first one, but he was the first one as a kid. Now when you meet him, he's in full-blown adult. So he was the first person when he was in the town. All the people he was there with, they were killed, and he was the only one left. You got Harold Perrinet. Most of us might know him as Merch in Best Man, but he plays his boy Stevens, who is the sheriff that you find out that he came here with his wife, and he lost his wife upon arrival, and he pretty much put law and order into the town, gave the people hope. You got Catalina Cedino Moreno as Tabitha Matthew. She plays as the wife of Jim Matthews, played by Elon Bailey. They have 2 kids that you meet, and they lost one about 14 months before they landed in this town. You got David Alpay plays as Jade. Elizabeth Sanders plays as Donna. Now Donna, inside the town, they're split into 2 groups. You got the colonial people that live up in a house up the road, and you got the people of the town. And Donna's like the head of the people of the colonial people. You got Ricky He plays as Kenny. Kenny's character is like the deputy to the sheriff, and you meet he's there with his mom and dad, and they were traveling and ended up in this town. And his dad ends up passing away because of one of the people in the town. Let me go over some more people that's relevant. You got Pega Garufi plays as Fatima. She's with the colonial people. She helps Julie Matthews blend in, played by Hannah Sharami. So what happens is, once they get into the town, you got Julia, who's trying to branch out, teenager, trying to branch out from her family, and she chooses to live with the colonial people while her parents lived in the town. So you got Cordia Moore plays as Ellis, which is the son of Boyd Stevens. Who else do we have here? We got Avery Conrad plays as Sarah Matthews. Now she's supposed to be there with her brother. She's weirded out. She's carrying out the voices in the town. Talks to her. She's killing people for the voices, thinking that's gonna allow them to get back home. You got Simon Westler plays as Ethan Matthews. Now that's the little brother to Julie Matthews and the son to Jim and Tabitha. So that's pretty much the cast. So it starts off with Tabitha, Jim, and the kids in an RV taking a trip. And they had a detour off of the highway, end up running into this road that had a tree in the middle of the road. So they get out, look at the tree. The son asks the dad to pick him up so he can sit on the tree. When he did that, crows started to circle around. Now, the son said a pretty good idea, and I instantly picked this up from as soon as the son said it. The son said, "Dad, how about we take the RV and use the RV to push the tree out the road?" The dad blew him off. Like, nah, we can't do that. Let's just go back another way. Where I'm thinking, if he would have just used the RV to try to push the tree out the way, that would have gave him the gateway to move. Now, you find out within the first 5 episodes that everybody that ended up in this town all went through the same thing, where the tree was in the middle of the road, they detoured and end up in this town. So they end up in the town, and at the time this is happening, there's a funeral going on. So what you find out within one of the first scenes of episode 1 is at dark, everybody got to get home. No matter what, no exceptions, everybody got to get home because the creatures come out at night. So you have a gentleman who didn't make it home. He was drunk somewhere, laid out. So his mom and his wife and kid was waiting for him. He didn't make it. So they closed the door. Now, the mom and the daughter's upstairs. So the creatures show up to your house and they work on your conscience, because say if you lost someone personal, they turn into that person and appear, talk to you to get them, let them in. So the grandmom shows up for the little girl, talking to the little girl from the window, and the little girl was like, I'm not supposed to talk to you, or you promise you won't hurt me. And so the mom, like, where's the little girl at, comes upstairs and tells the little girl, hey, get away from that door, don't trust her, that's not your grandma, or whatever. So the little girl didn't listen, being hard-headed, and opens the window, and the creature came through, pretty much mauled the little girl and the mom, killed them both, or whatever. So the dad came home, the sheriff was pissed, smacked the dad around, told him go upstairs, look what you did. And there has to be consequences for that, because they got rules that needs to be followed, and the guy didn't do it. So they got what they have, like a outhouse in the town. If you break the rules, this is your sentence. You go in there, and so they got these like emblems of something that if they hold these emblems at their door, the creatures can't come inside. So in the outhouse, there's no emblem there. So meanwhile this is happening, there's a funeral. The Matthews family pull into town, ask somebody for directions. They don't get no directions. So it's they can't start on, so they just tell them, hey, follow this road up here and you'll get back on the highway. So they follow that road. They end up doing a circle and then right back into town. So now they go again about twice, and they're like, hold on, there's no way that we whatchamacallit. So Boyd and Ken, they pretty much pitting up like, hey, put the spikes up. So when they come by this time, we're gonna flatten their car, and then we're gonna break the news to them or whatever. So I think that was devious anyway. So this time around, when they go back around in a circle, it's another car on the road as well, and so these people on the road almost hit them, so they end up dodging them, but ending off on the side of the road, crashing, and the other people crashed as well. So when they crash, this is where the guy Jade comes in. That he's a character that his friend gets killed in the first night or whatever, and so was it the first night or the second night? Either or, I think it's the first night. So in the crash, the mom's knocked out. Jim is open, but he's stuck behind a tree. Ethan, he got poked. He got stabbed in his leg with a like a pole or something, and then you had the sister Julie. She's pretty much banged up. So the other guy that's in the crash, he makes his way into town, and he tells everybody, "Hey, it's a crash out there." So Boyd is out there, tell Ken to rally up the troops. We got, a crash out there. So they instantly take this guy into what they call their little hospital or whatever. So the let's say the nurse of the town. She's the nurse of the town, and she's pretty much she was what was she? She was a 3-year medical student before she ended up in that town. So she tends to the guy that got in a crash and makes sure he's bandaged up. She leaves him there with Sarah, and she heads out to where the crash is. Now, you find out that Ken has his dad there at this facility. He's got dementia. He comes in and out, but he's a real good chess player, and he pretty much has a caretaker there. And at night, they go into the basement to lock up for them, if the monsters come through. Now, Sarah, you instantly see she's off. So she ended up stabbing the guy that originally was in the crash. And what she did, she stabbed him. And what she did was when that nighttime came, she took those symbol thing that they hang, which allows the monsters to come through, and she opened the door. So it'd make it look like the monsters killed the guy. But the monsters just didn't kill the guy. They came and went downstairs and killed the caretaker and the Ken's father as well. So that was messed up. But meanwhile, back at the crash scene, they get the mom out, they get the sister out, and time is starting to get dark. So Boyd stays there with the nurse and Jim to tend to the son. And so Boyd starts to tell them the stories about, hey, why we gotta stay here, and it's monsters out there at night. Jim didn't believe him, but eventually he had to listen. And so they told Julie and Tabitha the same thing. But on their way back, it was almost getting dark. They ran over the spikes that they had put down. They never pulled the spikes up, so they ran over that. So they had to run to the nearest house, and that was the Colonial house. And when they get there, they wouldn't let them in at first, of course, because they don't know. But Donna came down, told them to pull everybody in, and just before they went in, Julie seen somebody that she know from her past, and was looking at him, and they was like, that's not him. And so they started to break it down to Tabitha, like, yo, what's going on? Tabitha didn't believe them. They talked to Julie. So this is when they tell them what's going on in the town. Now the town has what they call a post office. They turn that into the sheriff's office. They have a diner where Ken's mom, she comes there and cook every morning. People grow their own food. They don't know where the cows and stuff come or whatever. So this is pretty much everything that's going on. So you got, like I mentioned, Victor, his character. His character's off. Like he's been there from the beginning, but he sees visions and he makes drawings of visions that end up happening. So it's this little boy in all white. He's been seeing him, and he hasn't surfaced, but he resurfaced now. And Ethan, the little boy, the son of Tabitha and Jim, he can see him. So Victor comes off real weird. So he befriends Ethan, and one of the times he had Ethan go off in the forest, and he was just showing Ethan how weird the place is. He took a rock and said there's like, I think he said some type of trees, like open hole trees, where he had put up, you throw a rock down the hole of the tree, and then it'll come out of nowhere in the sky and fall. So you see a lot of, you don't know the real true backstory yet within the first 5 episodes. All you know is that Sarah receives voices, and the image through her veins shows up on her, tell her who she needs to kill next. And so on episode 5, she tried to kill Ethan, and she locked Tabitha in the barn. And in the process of trying to kill Ethan, her brother went to grab her, and she, basically swung her hand from him grabbing her, and she slit his throat. And so at the time that took place, her brother had just told the what you want to call it, the pastor of the town. He confessed to him, the priest. Well, I said pastor. The priest of the town, and confessed to him what she was doing, and he was like, "We gotta stop her instantly because she's gonna kill somebody else." And so, by the time the priest got up there, she was standing over her brother where she slit his throat, and he walked in. By the time the rest of the town came up, she had ran off, and the priest act like, she got away. But to the one, she knows about hiding spots all through the forest and everything, so she knows how to hide from the monster. So I can almost gather within episodes 6 to 10, she's gonna reappear to try to finish off Ethan. So overall, within the first 5 episodes, entertaining enough for me to keep watching to finish it all the way through. But it's really not much different from Wayward Pines. I don't really see too much. I mean, Wayward Pines got out there and went to a whole nother dynamic where they freeze their bodies so it could live through another destruction, and their bodies came alive, and then it was just a whole recycle of everything. So that's the difference. But storyline, as for some weirded out town that sucks you in and all that, and by chance certain people end up in the town, same storyline as From. So I probably would do some more research to dig and find out who created From, and are they the same people that created Wayward Pines, because a lot of people didn't even hear about Wayward Pines or whatever. Some people that watch a lot of TV and stuff, like myself, I watched it, so I can definitely correlate the two together. So nevertheless, stay tuned for the next recap or review for episodes 6 to 10, and then after I finish season 1, I'll be tuning into season 2 and see where we at that point. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.